Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Welcome back to my channel guys, and welcome back to another episode of my challenge called 300 different scents in 300 days. I hope that all of you are having a great day. In today's episode of this challenge, I'm going to cover days 22 to day 28 of this challenge. I can probably call this week a Middle Eastern fragrance week because 6 out of the 7 scents that I used throughout this week were from Middle Eastern fragrance houses. For day 22 of this challenge, which was Monday of this week, I went with a fragrance from the house of Maison Alhambra called Jorge Di Profumo. If you are into fragrances, you already probably know what this is, but even if you are not and you're familiar with the original fragrance that this is cloning, when you look at the bottle, you probably immediately recognize what this is trying to be. And of course, this is Maison Alhambra's clone of Armani's Acqua di Gio Profumo. It's a nice little clone of that fragrance of the original scent. Very inexpensive, costs around about $20. Will get you very close to the original scent, maybe apart from that strong smoky note on the dry down that this is lacking. It's maybe something in between the original Acqua di Gio and Acqua di Gio Profumo scent. Day 23 of the challenge, I went with a fragrance from the house of Ajmal called Ajmal Vibe for him. This is a clone of Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Mot Le Parfum. It's a really impressive little fragrance. I was looking for a clone of Le Mot Le Parfum for quite a long time before I was actually able to get my hands on this fragrance. As far as I know, this is there aren't that many clones of Le Mot Le Parfum, and this is an absolutely fantastic clone of Le Mot Le Parfum. It's a little bit less sweet, a little bit more woody and spicy compared to the original scent, but will get you very close scent-wise. And one thing I've noticed, I've had this for about half a year now, had not used it for a few months, and maceration has definitely helped with the performance of this fragrance. It was a good performer right from the get-go as soon as I got it, but as I said, about half a year later, I was really impressed how this performs. This now gives me 9, even up to 10 hours of performance with very strong projection in the first about 2 hours. For day 24 of the challenge, I went with a fragrance from the house of Lattafa called Kayet Al Fursan. Now this is a fragrance that received quite a lot of hype about a year ago. And this fragrance is all about the pineapple scent in here. Basically, that's the main player with this fragrance. It's supported by some oud, some spices, some musk on the dry down, but it's all about the sweet pineapple note with this one. It's a nice, sweet, youthful fragrance, but I have to admit that I've never been the biggest fan of this one, and I had not worn it for quite a while. And when I worn it during this past week, I think it was on Wednesday, that sort of reaffirmed my feelings about this fragrance. It's a youthful fragrance with about average performance, but not the best fragrance, at least for me. It's not very enjoyable for me, and I don't see myself wearing this very often from now on. For day 25 of this challenge, I went with another Lattafa fragrance, this one called Opulent Oud. Now this is a fragrance that I've had for quite a while, and initially I was impressed by the performance of this fragrance, but I wasn't the hugest fan of the scent profile, especially the opening. The opening was giving me this sort of a still wine vibe out of it, you know, a note like this that wasn't very enjoyable. The dry down was better, but now fast forward about a year later, and maceration has helped with the scent profile of this fragrance. The opening now, that still wine note is completely gone, and the opening is a lot more enjoyable to my nose. The fragrance in here is all about the mix of strong saffron note, some additional spices, a very strong sweet rose note, synthetic oud, and some added sweetness from an amber note on the dry down. If you like rose-based fragrances and you're looking for a beast performer for a cheap price, definitely check out Opulent Oud from Lattafa. For day 26 of this challenge, I went with a fragrance from the house of Armaf called Très Nuit. This is one of the famous clones of Creed's Green Irish Tweed. Now, I've had this fragrance again for quite a while, and initially I wasn't the biggest fan of this one, especially of the opening, because there was this sort of synthetic harshness from this fragrance out of, in the opening. The dry down was a little bit more enjoyable, but this is another case where maceration has definitely helped with the scent profile of this fragrance. Now, that synthetic harshness is completely gone, and this is a lot more enjoyable. If you don't know how this smells, this is sort of like a very green, refreshing type of a scent with slight sweetness. Just imagine you're taking your clothes straight out of the washing machine after they've been washed. This is how this smells. It's a great fragrance, great scent DNA for spring and early fall usage. For day 27 of this challenge, which was yesterday, I went with another Lattafa fragrance, this one called Lattafa Riot. This is another fragrance that heavily relies on the pineapple note, just like Kayet Al Fursan, although this is not as sweet. This is like a little bit more mature version of that DNA. This has more woods, more spices. Smell-wise, this is close to something like Cedrat Boisé from Mancera. Would also give you, again, pure excess vibes because of the pineapple sweetness with this fragrance. Performance here is above average. Price tag is again low, but again, like with Kayet Al Fursan, I don't see myself using this fragrance too much in the future. And for day 28 of this challenge, which is today, I went with an old school designer fragrance, Tête Lapidus Pour Homme. A powerhouse of a fragrance, classic fragrance. If you are into fragrances and you have never tried Lapidus Pour Homme, I strongly encourage you to at least try once this fragrance. It's a super classic, old school type of scent with an incredibly sort of complicated note breakdown. You have honey, you have amber, tonka bean, tobacco, iris, lavender, pineapple. There's, I don't know, 100 different notes in this one. It's sweet, it's warm, it's woody, slightly spicy, very strong, very potent fragrance. Even current formulations are very strong and very long lasting, and people are saying that this used to be even stronger back in the day, and I just cannot imagine that one. That thing. Price tag is super low with all Tête Lapidus fragrances. This was all for yet another episode of my challenge called 300 different scents in 300 days. In these episodes I covered days 22 to day 28 of this challenge. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in my next video. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.